there, everyone. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a fascinating topic that combines psychology, philosophy, and social justice. Sounds intriguing, right? Imagine being part of an experiment where you're suddenly treated differently just because of something as arbitrary as eye color. Sounds like a plot twist from a movie, but it's a real study that shook the foundations of how we think about discrimination. So, grab a seat and get ready to explore how Stoic wisdom can shine a light on this powerful experiment and what it teaches us about racism and human dignity. A class divided. So, what exactly is a class divided? It's a groundbreaking social psychology experiment conducted by Jane Elliott in 1968, and it's as eye-opening as it is thought-provoking. Jane Elliott, a third-grade teacher, wanted to teach her students about the arbitrary nature of racism. Her method? A live demonstration. Here's how it worked. Elliott divided her class into two groups based on eye color: blue-eyed and brown-eyed. On the first day, she told the students that blue-eyed people were superior, and they were given extra privileges. Brown-eyed students were treated as inferior, with restrictions and negative labels. The next day, she flipped the script, declaring brown-eyed students as the superior group. The results were immediate and striking. The blue-eyed children, who were considered superior on the first day, became more confident, while the brown-eyed children, who were treated as inferior, became more submissive and withdrawn. The reversal on the second day had similar effects, but the most shocking part: the students' behavior and performance shifted dramatically based on their assigned status. This experiment wasn't just about seeing how easily people can be divided. It was a powerful illustration of how discrimination and prejudice can impact self-esteem and behavior. Elliott's study showed how quickly social identities and arbitrary distinctions could lead to inequality and conflict. What makes this experiment even more compelling is its timing. It was conducted during the Civil Rights Movement, a period of intense social change and activism. The lessons learned from A Class Divided are as relevant today as they were back then, highlighting the need to understand and combat prejudice. Now, let's take a step back and see how Stoicism, a philosophy that values inner virtue and wisdom, can offer insights into the dynamics of this experiment. How does the Stoic principle of focusing on our own actions and responses, rather than external judgments, help us understand and address the issues highlighted by Elliott's study? Stay tuned as we explore these connections and discover how Stoic philosophy can guide us in creating a more just and compassionate world. 1. Racism and discrimination. Core Stoic principle. Stoicism teaches that our worth and the essence of our character are not defined by external factors like race, wealth, or social status. According to Stoic philosophy, these external attributes are beyond our control and should not dictate our self-worth or how we treat others. Instead, Stoicism emphasizes the importance of inner virtue qualities such as wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance as the true measures of a person's value. In the context of A Class Divided, Jane Elliott's experiment, which divided students based on eye color to simulate the effects of racism, reveals how arbitrary and superficial distinctions can lead to profound discrimination and inequality. The experiment demonstrated how quickly individuals can adopt prejudiced attitudes and behaviors when given a label of superiority or inferiority. Stoic response to discrimination. 1. Recognizing inherent worth. Stoicism teaches that every individual has inherent worth and dignity. This worth is not determined by external characteristics like eye color or race, but by their capacity for virtue and rationality. In Elliott's study, the differentiation based on eye color is an artificial construct that does not reflect the true nature of each person. A Stoic would focus on recognizing and respecting the intrinsic value of each person, regardless of these superficial differences. 2. Focusing on inner virtue. Stoicism emphasizes that our actions should be guided by virtues such as wisdom, justice, and empathy. In a situation where people are unjustly divided and treated differently, a Stoic would advocate for maintaining a focus on these virtues. For instance, instead of succumbing to the prejudices or behaviors imposed by external labels, one should act justly and empathetically toward everyone, treating them as equals. 3. Responding to challenges with integrity. Stoics believe that while we cannot control external circumstances or how others behave, we can control how we respond to these situations. In the face of discrimination, a Stoic would encourage us to maintain our integrity and respond with equanimity and fairness. This involves challenging discriminatory attitudes and behaviors while upholding the principles of justice and equality. Advice with Stoic insight. From a Stoic perspective, it is essential to remember that our true worth is not determined by superficial attributes such as race or social status. These external factors are beyond our control. and should not influence our sense of self-worth or how we interact with others. Instead, let us focus on cultivating inner virtues like wisdom, justice, and empathy. By doing so, we can rise above superficial differences and treat everyone with the dignity and respect they deserve as fellow human beings. Embrace the Stoic ideal of recognizing the inherent worth of each person and let this understanding guide your actions and interactions. This approach aligns with the Stoic belief in focusing on what is within our control, our own thoughts, attitudes, and actions, while dismissing the influence of external factors that do not define our true character. 2. Social identity and group dynamics. Core Stoic principle. Stoicism promotes the idea of cosmopolitanism, which is the belief that all human beings are part of a single, global community. This principle is rooted in the Stoic understanding that all people share rationality and humanity, which connects us all despite our external differences. Stoics advocate for seeing beyond superficial distinctions and recognizing our common humanity. In the context of a class divided, Jane Elliott's experiment demonstrated how quickly people can form in-groups and out-groups based on arbitrary criteria, such as eye color. This artificial division led to immediate social stratification, with the superior group exhibiting more confidence and the inferior group becoming more submissive. Such dynamics illustrate how easily social identities can be manipulated to create division and conflict. Stoic response to social identity and group dynamics. 1. Embracing cosmopolitanism. From a Stoic standpoint, we should view ourselves as members of a global community rather than focusing on our differences. The experiment shows how social identities can create in-groups and out-groups that foster division. A Stoic approach would be to transcend these distinctions and see everyone as part of the same human family, connected by our shared rational nature. 2. Overcoming division. Stoicism teaches that while external factors like social identity can influence behavior, our focus should be on what we can control: our own actions and attitudes. Instead of reinforcing divisions, Stoics would encourage us to work towards unity and cooperation, acting in ways that promote harmony and the common good. 3. Contributing to the common good. Stoicism emphasizes that our actions should be directed towards contributing positively to the larger community. In Elliott's study, the creation of social hierarchies led to conflict and inequality. A Stoic would advocate for actions that foster inclusivity and respect, helping to bridge gaps between different groups and promote mutual understanding. Advice with Stoic insight. The Stoics taught us to view ourselves as part of a larger, interconnected community, united by our shared humanity. In the context of social identity and group dynamics, it is crucial to rise above arbitrary divisions and recognize that these distinctions are superficial compared to our fundamental commonalities. Rather than creating or reinforcing divisions, let us strive to see each person as a fellow citizen of the world, deserving of respect and kindness. By focusing on our shared rationality and humanity, we can contribute to a more harmonious and inclusive society. This Stoic perspective encourages us to focus on what unites us rather than what divides us, fostering a sense of global citizenship and collective responsibility. 3. Education and social learning. Core Stoic principle. For Stoics, education is not limited to acquiring knowledge or skills. True education involves the cultivation of virtues and the development of moral character. The Stoics believe that the ultimate goal of education is to foster wisdom, ethical behavior, and emotional resilience. This holistic view of education emphasizes the importance of shaping not just the intellect, but also the character and moral compass of individuals. In the context of a class divided, Jane Elliott used her experiment to educate her students about the impact of prejudice and discrimination. By simulating the effects of racism, she aimed to build empathy and help her students understand the arbitrary nature of such biases. This use of education aligns with Stoic principles as it seeks to promote moral growth and understanding. Stoic response to education and social learning. 1. Cultivating virtue. According to Stoicism, education should focus on developing virtues like wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. In Elliott's study, the educational experience was designed to reveal the negative effects of prejudice and encourage students to reflect on their own values and behaviors. A Stoic would view this as a valuable approach, as it helps students internalize virtues and recognize the importance of acting with fairness and empathy. 2. Building empathy and understanding. Stoicism places a strong emphasis on understanding others and practicing empathy. By experiencing the effects of discrimination firsthand, students in Elliott's experiment were able to gain a deeper appreciation for the challenges faced by those who are marginalized. Stoics would support this method as a means of fostering greater compassion and moral insight. 3. Nurturing moral improvement. For Stoics, the ultimate aim of education is to improve oneself and contribute to the betterment of society. Teaching others to recognize and reject prejudice aligns with this goal by encouraging ethical behavior and social responsibility. Through such educational experiences, individuals can develop a more refined sense of justice and empathy, which in turn benefits the broader community. Advice with Stoic insight. In the Stoic tradition, education extends far beyond the mere acquisition of knowledge. It is fundamentally about the development of virtuous character and moral wisdom. Jane Elliott's experiment in A Class Divided serves as a powerful example of how education can be used to build empathy and challenge prejudice. By engaging in such educational practices, we not only enhance our understanding, but also contribute to the moral improvement of society. Embrace education as a means to cultivate wisdom and compassion, and strive to apply these virtues in your interactions with others. This approach aligns with the Stoic ideal of fostering both personal growth and the well-being of the community. This detailed perspective highlights how Stoicism views education as a comprehensive process aimed at nurturing virtue and contributing to a more just and empathetic society. 4. Psychological impact of discrimination. Core Stoic principle. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot always control external circumstances, including how others treat us, we can control our responses and attitudes toward these circumstances. The Stoic philosophy emphasizes maintaining inner tranquility and focusing on what is within our control, such as our thoughts, reactions, and behaviors. This approach helps us deal with external challenges, including discrimination, with equanimity. In the context of A Class Divided, the students in Elliott's experiment experienced significant shifts in self-esteem and behavior based on how they were treated according to their eye color. This external treatment led to immediate psychological effects, with the superior group becoming more confident and the inferior group feeling diminished and submissive. These changes highlight how external judgments can impact one's psychological state. Stoic response to psychological impact. 1. Maintaining inner tranquility. Stoicism teaches that true peace comes from within and is unaffected by external events. Discrimination, as experienced in Elliott's study, can have a profound impact on an individual's self-esteem and behavior. A Stoic would advise focusing on internal virtues and maintaining a sense of self-worth that is independent of external treatment. By cultivating inner strength and understanding that one's value is not determined by external judgments, one can preserve inner peace despite the challenges faced. 2. Focusing on what we can control. According to Stoic philosophy, we should concentrate on what is within our control, our thoughts, attitudes, and actions, while letting go of what we cannot control, such as the behavior of others. In the face of discrimination, a Stoic would suggest focusing on maintaining personal integrity and responding with wisdom and virtue. This mindset helps mitigate the negative impact of external judgments and reinforces the idea that our reactions are within our control. 3. Rising above. Negative effects. Stoics believe that by focusing on cultivating virtues such as resilience, courage, and justice, we can rise above negative experiences and continue to act with integrity. In Elliott's study, the psychological effects of discrimination were significant, but a Stoic approach would encourage individuals to view these experiences as opportunities to strengthen their character and reaffirm their commitment to ethical principles. Advice with Stoic insight. Stoicism teaches us that while we cannot always control how others treat us, we have the power to control our responses and attitudes. In the face of discrimination, as highlighted by Jane Elliott's experiment, it's essential to remember that our self-worth and inner tranquility should not be swayed by external judgments. By focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, our reactions, and our adherence to our values, we can rise above the negative effects of discrimination. Embrace the Stoic practice of maintaining inner peace and integrity, and let these virtues guide you in overcoming the challenges and injustices you encounter. This detailed perspective emphasizes how Stoicism provides tools for managing the psychological impact of discrimination by focusing on internal control and resilience, allowing individuals to maintain their peace and act virtuously despite external adversities. 5. Ethical considerations in psychological experiments. Core Stoic principle. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of virtue, including ethical behavior and justice. According to Stoic philosophy, every action should be guided by the principles of justice, wisdom, and compassion. Ethical behavior is central to Stoic thought, and it involves careful consideration of the consequences of our actions, ensuring they align with our moral values and do not cause harm. In the context of A Class Divided, Jane Elliott's experiment raised significant ethical concerns, particularly regarding the psychological stress inflicted on children by subjecting them to discrimination. While the experiment aimed to teach a valuable lesson about prejudice, it also highlighted potential issues related to the ethical treatment of participants. The Stoic approach to these concerns would involve a thorough examination of whether the actions align with ethical principles and do no harm. Stoic response to ethical considerations. 1. Commitment to justice. In Stoicism, justice is a cardinal virtue that involves treating others fairly and ensuring that our actions do not cause undue harm. When conducting psychological experiments, it is crucial to consider whether the methods used are just and respectful of the participant's dignity. Stoics would advocate for conducting research in a way that upholds the highest ethical standards and prioritizes the well-being of those involved. 2. Principle of doing no harm. The Stoic commitment to ethical behavior includes a strong emphasis on minimizing harm. The psychological impact of Elliott's experiment on the children involved raises questions about whether the potential benefits outweigh the harm caused. A Stoic would advise that any experiment or action should be carefully evaluated to ensure it does not inflict unnecessary distress and aligns with the principle of causing no harm. 3. Guidance by wisdom and compassion. Wisdom involves the ability to foresee the potential consequences of our actions and make decisions that reflect a deep understanding of their ethical implications. Compassion requires us to consider the feelings and experiences of others and to act in ways that are empathetic and caring. Stoics would encourage researchers to use these principles to guide their decisions, ensuring that their actions contribute positively to the greater good and respect the participants' humanity. Advice with Stoic insight. In Stoicism, ethical behavior is fundamental, and every action should be guided by the principles of justice, wisdom, and compassion. When conducting psychological experiments or making any decisions, it is essential to reflect on whether our actions align with these virtues. Consider whether the methods used are just, whether they respect the dignity and well-being of participants, and whether they avoid causing harm. Let us ensure that our choices contribute to the greater good and are guided by a commitment to do no harm. By upholding these ethical standards, we honor the Stoic ideal of acting with integrity and respect for all individuals. This detailed explanation emphasizes how Stoicism provides a framework for evaluating the ethical dimensions of actions, particularly in research contexts. It highlights the importance of aligning actions with core virtues and ensuring that they are conducted with a focus on justice and compassion. 6. Social justice and civil rights. Core Stoic principle. Stoicism holds justice as one of the cardinal virtues, emphasizing that true virtue encompasses not only personal integrity, but also a commitment to fairness and the well-being of others. Stoics believe in the inherent dignity of every individual and the moral duty to act in ways that promote justice and equity within society. This principle extends beyond personal interactions to include societal and systemic issues. In the context of A Class Divided, Jane Elliott's experiment, conducted in the wake of the Civil Rights Movement and the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr., aimed to highlight the arbitrary nature of racism and the impacts of discrimination. The broader social and political climate of the time underscored the urgent need for social justice and equality. The Stoic approach would align with this context by emphasizing the moral responsibility to challenge and address injustices. Stoic response to social justice and civil rights. 1. Inherent dignity and equality. Stoicism teaches that all human beings possess inherent dignity and are worthy of respect, regardless of external attributes. In the context of civil rights and social justice, this principle reinforces the idea that every person deserves equal treatment and opportunities. The Stoic perspective supports efforts to eliminate discrimination and promote equality, recognizing that justice involves respecting and upholding the inherent worth of every individual. 2. Commitment to justice. Justice, as a cardinal virtue, involves not only personal honesty and fairness, but also the active pursuit of a just society. Stoicism would encourage individuals to take a stand against systemic injustices and work toward societal changes that promote equity. In Elliott's study, the focus on exposing and addressing discrimination aligns with the Stoic ideal of striving for a more just and fair society. 3. Active engagement for societal betterment. Stoicism teaches that true virtue involves contributing to the common good and working to improve society. This means engaging in actions that support social justice and challenge injustices. By actively participating in efforts to combat inequality and discrimination, we embody the Stoic commitment to justice and the betterment of society as a whole. Advice with Stoic insight. Stoicism teaches us that justice is not only a personal virtue, but a societal one, encompassing our responsibility to address and rectify injustices. The context of Jane Elliott's A Class Divided, set against the backdrop of the civil rights movement, underscores the importance of fighting for equality and standing against discrimination. From a Stoic perspective, our commitment to justice involves more than just personal integrity. It requires us to actively support social justice initiatives and work towards creating a fairer, more equitable society. Let us be guided by the Stoic principle of justice in our actions, striving to promote respect and equality for all people, and contributing to the collective well-being of our communities. This detailed explanation highlights how Stoicism views social justice and civil rights as integral to the practice of virtue, emphasizing the importance of actively working towards a more just and equitable society. Wow, what a journey! Jane Elliott's A Class Divided not only exposes the deep-seated effects of discrimination, but also challenges us to reflect on how easily we can be swayed by arbitrary distinctions. By using Stoic principles, we gain valuable insights into how we can rise above external judgments and focus on what truly matters, our own character and virtues. Stoicism teaches us that, while we can't always control how others treat us, we can control our responses and maintain our inner peace. This perspective helps us navigate the impacts of discrimination with resilience and grace. As we strive for a more just society, let's remember that true virtue involves acting with fairness, empathy, and integrity. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Stoicism and its application to social justice. If you found this video insightful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more content, and share your thoughts in the comments below. What do you think about the Stoic approach to dealing with discrimination? How can we apply these lessons in our own lives? I'd love to hear from you. Until next time, stay curious and keep striving for wisdom.